So we're moving on to the Ghost Block Estate Cab.
Yeah. So this is our brand new release of the 2018 that got released May 1st. I'll have to show you guys another slide, so I'll share my screen here in a second. But we sell out of the Ghost Block Estate every year, and it's on a strict release schedule. So every year it's released May 1st, whether we've been sold out for a month, 2 months, or 5 months. And the 2017, the previous vintage to this, was sold out by February 1st. So we went several months without any Ghost Block Estate in the market. And we were slowly shipping the wine starting in April, and had a record-breaking month just with sales of Ghost Block because nobody had any in stock since February. And our 17 sold out because of a beautiful score from the Wine Spectator. We got 94 points on July 22nd. And it was, let me just go back to sharing my screen here. Amongst some giants. Okay, so if you want to look over here at all of the price points and who we're in the company of.
Wow. Good for you guys.
Yeah. Well, it's so funny because the 2016 vintage got 93 points, which is a great score. Didn't move the needle. But the second you get 94 points amongst these giants, the wine just flew. I mean, it was life altering, let me just tell you. So to be in the company of Dominus and Colgan and Opus and Scarecrow and Staglin and Paul Hobbs is, obviously such an honor, and, well-deserved. Christy Coford is our winemaker of Ghost Block. She's been our director of winemaking here at Napa Wine Company for close to 20 years. She has always overseen the winemaking of Ghost Block, but we had a consulting winemaker prior to Christy fully taking over in 2016. So she is now, this is her third vintage flying solo, and her wines are truly, truly incredibly phenomenal. And so while she speaks highly of the 18 vintage, there were really no ups and downs as far as the climate and the harvest of 18. Everything happened when it was supposed to happen. And there was obviously a big crop, but the concentration of the grapes was still there. This is 98% Cabernet with 1% Petit Verdot and 1% Malbec.
So just out of care, I mean, it's interesting that she put that 1% of Malbec and Petit Verdot in it. What was, you had some fruit, obviously, that was available to you, that there's some, she was wanting to round it out a little bit more, I would assume?
Yeah, that's exactly what she does. It's pretty common that there's 1 or 2% of something in her wines.
Yeah.
But of course, you'll always see more than 95% Cabernet in the Ghost Block cabs.
Yeah, this is I mean, wow. I want to say steak, but I'm like, I don't know, man. This is steak.
Well, it's such an elegant Cabernet coming out of Oakville, right? It's approachable upon release, and it's got some really nice soft tannins that aren't harsh.
What would you say from an age for this? How long would this one age?
Well, our Ghost Block Estates age between 10 to 15 years. I love drinking the Ghost Block Estate wines at like 8 years. I think they're great. But I found some, what did we open the other day?
When was this vintage bottled?
It was just bottled at the end of January.
Okay.
So
yeah, that's
like the single vineyard, the Ghost Block vineyard cab that comes out every year in the fall is bottled at the same time, but it benefits from more bottle aging because we never release it until the fall.
Yeah.
if we want to talk a little bit about vineyard site, the Ghost Block Estate comes from our Rock Karen vineyard, which is 32 acres planted solely to Cabernet Sauvignon, right along Highway 29, across the street from Brick's Restaurant, right up against our Yountville Hill. And so the Yountville Hill really protects this vineyard from heat and harsh sun and wind and anything. So it's actually the last vineyard we pick every harvest, obviously due to ripeness, because it gets evening sun exposure as the sun is setting. So it doesn't have the big morning sun or while it has sun in the afternoon, it's not harsh because the hill has protected it.
Okay.
And it's also very, very southern Oakville. So it's bordering Yountville. So it's cooler than the rest of Oakville.
Yeah, that's a great mix of climate, temperature.
Right.
Yeah.
What's the on the oaks? How much is New French oak? Or I'm assuming it's New French oak. I look at this.
It's typically been 60% New French oak, but I think she upped this vintage to 70 or 80. 70.
Yeah, that's what it said.
70% New French oak for close to 24 months.
Yeah, I have to say the Rock Karen, that from that location specifically, right? You could in some instances you could see where it could come out a little bit thinner. It's not coming out thin in any way, shape, or form. It's coming out really well rounded, right? But so like due to that afternoon shade, right? I mean, I don't know how much time did it spend on the skins too? You have any idea? No idea.
Yeah.
I mean, the color is beautiful.
Yeah.
The fruit, the ripeness of obviously is coming through, but to your point, it's velvety smooth, and it's got a nice cab finish to it that is, I'm still cleaning my teeth a little bit on it, just a little bit, but it's not like some where you stick it in your mouth and you're like, oh my gosh.
There's always a very unique floral aspect that's almost like violets.
I'm so glad you said it, because I stuck my nose in the glass initially and I was like, gosh, it's got this perfume smell to it. And I couldn't nail down what that was, what the flavor, but it's violet.
It's violets. Yeah. It's so funny because
it's literally like right there in your nose.
Uh-huh. And I'm getting it too, actually. And I don't always get it, but when I'm in a tasting, someone always points it out, sophisticated palates, things like that. Where I like it because I think it's very distinctive of our vineyard site. And I think it's something that's very consistent. And obviously I think there's times when it shows more than others, just based off of age and things like that. But I think if you were tasting a side-by-side of Nickel and Nichols, even though theirs is more expensive and they have a lot more winemaker manipulation than we have, I still think that violet sometimes shines through.
Yeah. It's interesting because I remember, so one time I was in the shop and I sold a bottle of Harlan out of our portfolio, and it was just like a Sunday afternoon, and this gentleman came in with his sister or sister-in-law and bought a bottle of Harlan, and the first thing I noticed was when I stuck my nose in it was like this. Imagine walking into this garden full of flowers, just violets and all these, just imagine this bouquet of flowers, right? I mean, it's really hard to describe, but I mean, like I can picture it in my head, but that's exactly, I got a very similar perspective when I stuck my nose in it. I mean, and back to your point about price point, I mean, this is fantastic.
Totally.
Fantastic.
It just always over delivers. And I think that's what my family wants to achieve. We never want someone to purchase a bottle of our wine and be disappointed or upset that they paid X, Y, and Z for it and it didn't deliver. And so I think across the board, the entire portfolio does that. And we obviously truly stand by the product that's in the bottle. It's organically farmed. We take a lot of pride in how we farm our grapes and how long we've been in the valley. And so we want our wines to reach as many people as possible, while being true to ourselves.